William Shakespeare is probably the most famous writer in the English language. He was born on the 23rd of April 1564, and he died on the same day in 1616. He was a poet, playwright, and actor for most of his life. Shakespeare used to live in this house in Stratford, where his father made gloves. In 1582, he married Anne Hathaway, and the couple had 3 children. By 1592, Shakespeare had moved to London and was writing plays, and probably performing in them too. This is a recreation of the Globe Theatre in London. The original was built in 1599. By the time Shakespeare died, he had written 38 plays and 154 sonnets, or short poems. Jane Austen is one of Britain's favourite authors. Her books are stories of romance, but also show how difficult life could be for women during the late 18th century. Jane Austen was born on the 16th of December 1775 and used to live in Hampshire in the south of England. When Jane was 21, her father decided to move the family to Bath in the southwest of England. They hadn't been there for long when her father died. Jane, her mother, and her sister Cassandra returned to the country and lived in Chawton for the next 6 years. Jane had written 5 novels by the time she became ill in 1816. At this time, Jane moved to Winchester in order to be closer to medical help. She died here on the 18th of July, 1817. Although she was not very well known during her lifetime, today millions of people still enjoy reading her novels or watching her stories as films or on television. And Jane Austen's House Museum at Chawton has 40,000 visitors a year. Ian Fleming created the most famous British secret agent in the world, James Bond. Fleming was born in London in 1908. He used to go to school here, the world-famous Eton College. Fleming was quite a bad student, but he was very good at sport. After he left school, he became a journalist. During the Second World War, Fleming worked for the British government. He used to tell friends that he had always dreamed of writing spy novels. But by the time the war ended, Fleming still hadn't written anything. In fact, it wasn't until 1952 that he created the secret agent James Bond. The first story he wrote was called Casino Royale. Fleming then wrote a James Bond book nearly every year until his death in 1964. By the time he died, Fleming had sold millions of books. James Bond is now one of the most famous Britons in the world. Much more famous than Ian Fleming, the man who created him.